Syndrome. For some reason, that is the place where there's the most research going on currently. So we wanted to get together, right? Because you're constantly getting some emails, you're getting social media posts, you might be see it on Facebook, looking for you to see if you're interested. So marketing these kinds of opportunities for you, and they're not all the same. So to the casual observer, you might be thinking you're seeing the same thing over and over again, but you're not. You're seeing about 4 or 5 or 6 different opportunities that are being presented to you. So as we have about 10% of our known Netherton population on this call right now, I just want to give you an idea that you're highly sought after. What I want to do right now, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with the clinical research process, but I wanted to give you a little presentation that we had this weekend. It was put on by Jess Rays, who works for Timber Pharmaceuticals, a company that's doing ichthyosis research, but with the lamellar population, with the ARCI population, not with Netherton's. But it was a great presentation that explained just the basics about what it means to participate and how you can, what are some of the things you can find out about, some of the questions you might want to ask when you are presented with an opportunity. Does that sound like a reasonable agenda?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm very casual, so if anytime you have any questions, please just unmute yourself and fire away, and one of the 3 of us will be able to answer for you. All right, so can you see this screen I'm sharing here? Oops, let me do the slideshow. There we go. All right, now I gotta go back here. Where did it go? Okay. All right, so you are seeing this, but you're seeing it there we go. All right, so why are clinical trials important? I think that's kind of evident. They are the best way for us to test out new drugs. And there are several processes to the research process. And I think that right now in Netherton's, companies are looking to find out about you, find out what it's like to be literally in your skin, find out what it's like to live with Netherton's on a day-to-day basis. What are some of the things that bother you the most? What are some of the things that you would wish for in a treatment? This is all information that's important for them when they're designing the clinical trial, when they're trying to decide what are we trying to achieve with this potential drug or treatment option. So they need to get that background information. The FDA is very interested in knowing that they're making their research project, their trial, very patient-centric, very much about you and what you need. So the first stage of the process is really to do surveys, maybe do like a focus group kind of thing, maybe have you keep track in a diary, do an interview with you, those kinds of things. So nothing involving your blood or an examination, just all could be done through Zoom, through email, through, in the comfort of your home. The next phase of the trial is a phase 1 clinical trial. That's when we start getting into testing out this compound or this treatment to see how it works. And the very first phase is really on a very small population, and that's just to see that it's safe, to make sure there's no harmful effects to the treatment, either side effects or from the treatment itself. So clinical trials in rare diseases is a little different because of just how the numbers you're talking about, the number of people that you can get to participate in the trial. So by definition, a rare disease is a condition that affects fewer than 200,000 people in the US. So it's fewer than 1 in 2,000 people in the EU. In addition, each clinical trial protocol has a set of eligibility criteria. So they're going to want to know about, do you have a genetic confirmation of your condition, your age, those kinds of things. And that is how they whittle down who's going to participate in the trial. So finding eligible participants can be very, very challenging. So what does it mean to be in a clinical trial? So the decision to participate or not to participate should not be entered into lightly. You can talk it over with your doctor. The study doctor will also discuss with you all the requirements, the risks, the expectations. It's really, really important for you to have a full knowledge of what it means to participate about this in this particular trial because of informed consent. And informed consent means you are doing it of your own free will. You're not doing it because someone's paying you an exorbitant amount of money. You're not doing it because someone's coerced you. You're not doing it because you're a prisoner and you think you're going to get out early if you participate. These are all things that have happened in the past. You might want to find out about, how many visits it's going to require, how many times they're going to do different things, whether it be take a blood test, make a tape strip, a biopsy, maybe just examine you or take pictures to see the improvement from time to time. You're also going to find out about how the trial is designed. Oftentimes, these are double-blind studies, meaning that there is a group of people who are getting the drug that's being tested, and there's some other people are going to get a placebo or what's called a vehicle. So you're not going to get the real drug. And so the trial is designed to do that, to show the benefit, so that the people getting the drug have shown marked improvement over those who just had the placebo or the vehicle. And you're randomly assigned to those. So what happens when their participation in the trial is over? Most of the trials right now are have a crossover phase to them, and I think that's really great. So even if you were assigned to the placebo or vehicle group, you can have the opportunity to try the drug that's being trialed. Each phase aims to answer unique questions about the new drug or the device, and so that the FDA, in our case, can really find out and evaluate the drug in a proper way. They know it's safe, first of all, and then they know that it has to reach certain endpoints. Right now, drugs have to show at least a 2-point increase. So you have a 4-point scale. They pretty much have to show a 50% increase for them to be approved. To say, okay, this is something worthy of going on the market. Participating in the trial means that you are providing very critical data to support not only how your own, how it's working on your own disease, but those in future generations as well. So there really is a component about, more than just helping yourself. It's really a very altruistic act on your part to participate in clinical trials. You'll be helping people way down the line. And so you have phase 1 is just the safety. Phase 2 is a smaller group to try how it works. Phase 3 is really the big time, when they're just trying to try the drug out on a much bigger group, and they're testing it over a longer period of time and various doses many times. Then phase 4 is when it goes to market, and then there has to be some still following up on the drug to make sure there's no adverse effects from taking the drug farther down the line. You can always look for what trials are available, what kind of recruitment's going on our webpage. If you just type in, if you go into the First Foundation, firstskinfoundation.org, you'll find, and you type in research in the search bar at the top, you see up here, you will be able to find out everything that's going on. We're trying to do as much as we can to keep you informed as they're coming along, but that's why we're having this special session just for you, because there are several projects going on. We want you to be aware of each one of them and what each one sort of means. Okay. All right. Is there any questions about that? Was a really quick kind of description of what's going on and what it means to participate in clinical trials. Can I answer anyone's questions just about trials in general?
I have a question.
Sure.
My name is Joe, by the way. I'm out of Michigan, and the medication that they want us to try, obviously it's already produced, and they're hoping that people like us will use it because we have the condition. If the medication is already made and they're assuming that it could be a positive effect, how do they know, if they haven't used it yet, on anybody, if it's even something that's worthwhile for someone like me? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you have a medication, if you say that this medication is used for Netherton syndrome, but it hasn't been used on anybody for Netherton syndrome. How can they even determine whether it would even, you know what I'm saying? If it would even apply to my situation whatsoever. I guess, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying or not, but.
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways it happens. There's a couple of different ways these drugs come to the surface. And so they know what what a drug does in your body, a potential drug, what it does in some cases. And they say, it affects this kind of a production of an enzyme or this production of a molecule, and that same action might happen in another part of your body. One of the things that one of the treatments that's being talked about right now, that's in the early stages, they know that it has an action on affects calcium. It affects how your body uptakes calcium, and that has a lot to do with and how your body metabolizes and takes up calcium has a lot to do with cardiac, your heart issues. So this drug started out as a heart drug, but someone who was participating in that trial as a heart treatment also had Netherton's, and it did wonderful things for her skin.
Okay.
So then the company says, we have another potential treatment. Let's try it over here, and they start doing some investigation with a very small population. So they probably can skip that first phase, the safety phase, because they've already tested it in people with this heart condition. So they already know it's safe and nothing bad happened. So they can skip on to the phase 2 part, where they say, we'll take a really small population. Let's start with 5 or 6 people and see how it works for them.
Okay. That answered my question.
And think about it this way: they're not going to spend a whole lot of money on something they don't think is going to work, because clinical trials are really, really expensive.
Right.
And so they're going to start out with a small population, see if their hypothesis works, and then go to a bigger and bigger audience, a bigger community.
Okay.
Another drug you probably heard the news recently was for diabetes, and people are taking it to lower their blood sugar, but at the same time they found out it really reduced their weight. So now there's a big push to get that drug on the market for weight loss.
Sure.
It happens a fair number of times.
Okay.
There are drugs out there right now that your physicians may be prescribing off-label, which means it's not for the intended use, but they feel it's pretty safe for you. So sometimes the drug company will go back and say, hey, let's put it on the label. Let's make sure we have it, so it makes it easier for insurance to pay for it, that sort of thing. And some of that's happening in other types of ichthyosis with the biologics you see on TV, like Dupixent or Cosentrix. Those things you see advertised all over the place, right? Those are for eczema, maybe atopic dermatitis, but they are having some impact on some people in the ichthyosis community. So the companies that make Cosentrix or Dupixent, and those are just a couple I can think off the top of my head, they might go back to the FDA and say, hey, we want to get this approved for people with Netherton too.
Right. Now, I guess I'll ask another question why I'm here. Are there any known side effects so far on any of this? I'm sure that's one of the reasons why, we're being asked to trial this drug, but is there, with the ingredients in this medication, a topical skin medication, is there any side effects to be really aware of? Okay. It's just like when you see a commercial on TV and they say, try this, but yeah, you're going to be nausea, you're going to have headaches, you're going to, you may go through this, so that's my question.
So I'm going to turn it over to Denise. Denise is working with a company right now that is the only one that we're talking about that's actually in a clinical trial right now. So they're in a phase 2 clinical trial. They're recruiting people like you right now, and she can speak to what people are experiencing.
Okay.
Sure. Hi again, Joe.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you. Good.
To see you.
First of all, I'm going to put a plug in for Ichthyosis Awareness Month. Do y'all know that it's Ichthyosis Awareness Month?
I did not.
We're about to climb the Grand Canyon, and you can find out more about that on our website and on our social media. We've got a group of 12 climbers, and 5 of us are affected. No one has Netherton though, so next year, please, one of y'all join us. We know we're crazy. We fully know we're crazy, but we've raised close to $50,000 already. So anyway, to answer the question about known side effects, for each trial that you sign up in, you're going to get a paperwork stack that's about the size of a Bible. And it's going to cover everything. It's going to cover all of the known side effects, all of the side effects that haven't happened yet that they think might potentially happen, and then just side effects of being in a trial. Like, it's a little bit stressful to have to fill out a diary every day. So they will over cover all of that with each opportunity. So it's hard for us as first representatives to speak to each specific opportunity, and these things are highly regulated for that reason, and that's so we can't exactly speak to each of those cases. But I can say in my situation, I was in a trial last year, and I just felt like the dosage was a little bit high. And so I was applying it to my arms, and I just kind of had a bit of a rash on my arms, and it was thinning out my skin effectively, but the dose was too high on my arms. So that was something I was able to troubleshoot with the study doctor. So the study doctor is going to be your point of contact throughout the trial. And so if anything comes up and you just want to talk to someone, you just want to talk to someone and you're not like ready to pull the plug yet, you can troubleshoot those sorts of things. They'll give you options. And if it's not for you, you can withdraw at any time. And your paperwork stack is going to tell you exactly how much compensation you'll get, how the compensation will be structured if you pull out early, and all of the reasons why you might be either kicked out of the trial early, as I was, I'll get to that in a second, or if you decide to remove yourself from the trial. So your own decision to participate is first and foremost the most important thing. In my case, they later found out that there was maybe a concern with this drug with regard to family history of melanoma. And so they added that as a screening criteria after they had already enrolled me. So I was enrolled in the trial for, I think, like 8 weeks. And then they came back and they said, oh, by the way, we're adding this new screening criteria. And I do have a family history of melanoma. So at that point, I was terminated. And it was, you know, kind of that was the end of it for me. But the drug has continued to go on without me. So there's a lot of reasons why we need to talk to so many people, because when you talk to 10, you know, maybe 5 decide to do the screening survey. And then from there, maybe 3 will qualify. And then from there, maybe 2 will decide to do it. And so all of those factors are going to be best understood and described by the trial themselves. So I would say that side effects can range from anything from photosensitivity, you know, being more sensitive to the sun, to itch and rash. And for the most part, these topicals, for the most part, we're talking about topical drugs, and that means talking about changing your regimen. And so that, to me, is the biggest consideration for what this will be for your daily life. Changing your regimen, as we all know, is extremely, it can be challenging. And so one thing that I wanted to add, earlier, Christopher talked about if you're given the vehicle or if you're given the active ingredient. And the good thing about most of the topical trials that we're seeing now is that the folks that are getting the drug, obviously they've got the drug, and so there's hopefully some efficacy there. But the folks that are getting the folks that are in the control group, so to speak, they're not getting nothing. They're still getting usually a very thick emollient that is akin to like an aquaform. So you're not going to be in a situation where you're going completely without. So when we say, you know, that when we identify the 2 groups in a blind study, both groups are going to be getting cream enough to the point of moisturization, which is very important. And the second thing that I'll say about changing your regimen is that for some of these trials, it does require a washout period. And the washout period is going to be, again, identified in very specific terms by the opportunity themselves. And they will explain exactly what all you can and cannot be on and how long you have to get off of it before the trial can actually start. So that's just to help them identify exactly how their drug is working in your body versus what all the other things that could be, the other variables that could be there. So one of the cool things that we've seen now in this current opportunity for the topical drug from Coin is that they've introduced a second study where they're allowing people to stay on biologics or the systemic retinoids that they might be on. And so they figured out a way to isolate the impact of their drug versus what you already might be on. So it makes it a little bit easier to agree to do the trial if you've got a regimen that's really working for you that you don't want to have to get off of. I know that could be very difficult for some people. So that's a little bit more about kind of the topical drugs. And again, each trial is going to be a little bit different, and they're going to have people whose job it is to explain all of that to you and to make sure that you're very clear on all of it.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the study logistics. And so if you are to participate in the actual clinical trial phase where it's not in the comfort of your home and you need to go somewhere, most of these pharma companies start working with some physicians, some dermatologists, maybe 5 to 10 places around the country. And sometimes this might be really close to you and sometimes it might not be. But they're going to pay for your travel, and if you need to stay overnight, they're going to pay for all of any expenses you may incur for participating in that trial. So some of the common places that they might be, like Philadelphia or Houston or San Francisco or Chicago, those kinds of things. And so for the people in those areas, it's a little more convenient, but they really need people to participate, and so they will pay for you to travel to go to these other places. Now, if the study is also happening in Milan, they won't pay for you to go to Milan. They're going to pay for you to go to the place nearest to you. So they pay for the expenses and they pay a little bit of a stipend for your trouble. One of the things, like I said before, about the informed consent is the companies can't pay you an exorbitant amount of money, because that would sort of skew who participated and who didn't. Those who are most desperately in need of money might participate more than those who felt pretty comfortable. And so that was, you're trying to get a good cross section of the population, of the community. Christine, do you have anything to add that I might have left out?
Well, I mean, there's different reasons for people wanting to participate. Some people say they want to, altruistically, they want to help the community. Other people want to help find a cure while they still can. There's all different reasons, and like Denise said, if you don't feel comfortable, even once you sign up, you can always back out. So you definitely still have the control. No one's going to force you to do anything. So I just wanted to throw that in there too.
Right. Okay, so like I said, some of these companies right now are just trying to gather information about you. So let's talk specifically about some of the things that are going on right now. There's a company, some of these companies want to remain anonymous because for various reasons, for marketing reasons, and then also because they don't want people participating for a reason because they think, oh, they're a real big successful company versus a startup company. So some of them want to remain anonymous, and so they sort of outsource some of the research or the data gathering to a third-party company. So that's what we've been dealing with in some situations, are these sort of third-party companies, all on the up. If I say that, I don't mean it to sound shady or anything. It's just the way they want to, how they best conduct their business is to have another company that has more expertise in doing this data gathering than the company that makes the drugs themselves. So right now there are 2 or 3 opportunities for you just within the comfort of your home to sign up for finding out about the day in the life of someone living with Netherton syndrome. And there's one company that's looking for 30 participants, and those people will participate in like a 2-hour interview process. There's another company that's looking for about 4 to 5 to 6 individuals, and those people will be a little bit more involved. They want you to fill out a diary. They want you to go through an interview. Then they want you to do a video diary. So each company, the way they approach it, the way they approach how they're going to get the best information from you to design their trial, they do it in many different ways. And so those things, you're also, even though there's no travel involved in those, you still receive a small stipend for participating in that. Now, before you get into the actual, trial where you're trying out creams or devices, or either topically or orally, you can participate in many of the. You can do 3 in a week if you want to. Of these other ones gathering information. So there's several opportunities, and you can do them all if you so choose. Some of it might get a little time consuming, but you're perfectly able to do that. Once you get into the like a phase 2 clinical trial where they're actually trying something out on you, you only can do one of those at a time, like Denise was saying about the washout period. Now, the same would go with doing 2 things at the same time. And it'd be very, very challenging to do that at the same time. So not only is there one clinical trial that's actually in process right now that Denise is helping to market the opportunity for. That's the coin that she was talking about. There's another company that has 2 arms that is doing sort of that data gathering. We've also talked to 3 other companies that are just beginning that data gathering. We'd love to meet with 4 or 5 or 6 of you, which we might set up a focus group kind of thing, where you all gather in an environment just like this, and they'll ask questions to figure out, hey, what's it like? What bothers you more? Is it the redness? Is it itch? Is it scaling? What other thing? What bothers you the most? What other issues besides your skin are bothering you, or have you found because of your Netherton? And you might find out that everyone on the call, or several people on the call, have food allergies more so than the general population, or I have problems with my joints. I have premature maybe arthritis, because of my skin condition. They would be interested in knowing that as well. Is it worse in the morning? Is it worse in the night? During the course of your life, was it worse as a teenager, or is it getting worse now? Is it getting better as you get older? Those are all kinds of things that they would love to know, that they don't need to have you, trying things on your skin to find out. Denise or Christine, anything?
Well, I was just wondering, I mean, I'm sure you all get our emails about different opportunities. How can we better communicate to you? Because it gets confusing for us even, because there's so many different companies, which is an absolutely great thing, because years ago we heard from nobody. So the fact that they're focusing on Netherton's for all of you is such a big and positive thing, but we want to make sure we communicate it clearly to you, that you know what you're signing up for. And also, it's always, if you ever get an email and you're not sure, just respond to the email and we'll get you the answer. But is there any other way we can communicate that you think would be better, or is it fine with the emails? I know Denise has been making phone calls.
Well, I can answer from my point of view. And I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes.
I own an entertainment company, so I'm a DJ. And I was doing a wedding on Friday when I got the phone call. And actually, I was pretty excited about it because, I became a member of First many years ago. Actually, when I was born, Netherton Syndrome, from what I understand, was never discovered until 1969. I was born in 66. I was in the hospital for 2 years before I ever came home with my mom, because nobody knew what I had or what the hell was going on. But so I was pretty excited about getting the phone call. But I would tell you that I haven't received an email from you guys in over 5 years. And I think, at least if I haven't received it that I know of. But I think social media is everything. And I think that, I know you have a Facebook page, but why not do a group page where you have all the the people that just have Nethertons, they join a group. And then that way we can converse with one another. We can, just like what we're doing now, like where you said that, there'll be sometimes, these doctors want to know what works best for you and what doesn't work best and everything else. I can tell you this, I wrestled in high school and college, and for me to have Nethertons and do that, I guess my doctors were floored to find out that I actually did that, because obviously Nethertons, if you have Nethertons, heat is a big thing. You overheat, you do this, you do that. I never knew what was right or wrong. I just did what I did, and I competed. It's just what I did. So I think that if I could talk to other people that had Nethertons, if I was in a group, I could ask questions like, hey, what works for you? What doesn't? Those type of things. But if you're in a group, I think it's easier for your staff to go ahead and maybe you do a once a month meeting with just, you know what I'm saying, like a Skype meeting like we're doing right now, where it's easier to stay in contact, where maybe an email won't get to me, but the Facebook group meeting will. So I think that for me, I think that would be I'm shocked that I'm actually looking at other people right now that have Nethertons, is what I'm
That's
trying to
great.
say.
That's great. Well,
Um,
I'd actually love that idea of the Nethertons group. I mean, and that would be easy to set up.
You know, I think that
So,
would be an easy way to go ahead, and then at least we know that I'm talking to somebody that has my condition, and find out what works for them and what hasn't worked, you know, and things like that. And, you know, so I think that would be an easy way to get a hold
I
of
mean,
us.
it's great for you and it's great for us, because then we can when we get these studies, we can communicate directly to the people that need to see it.
Mhm.
Now that doesn't work if someone doesn't have Facebook, but you know, I do like that idea.
Hi,
Thank you.
Christine. My name is Margie Alexander, and I apologize. My Zoom wasn't working on my computer, so I'm on my phone, so I don't know if it wiped out my video as I'm talking. But my son, who's 28, has Netherton Syndrome. He wasn't able to be on the Zoom call today, but I told him that I would be on it to represent him. And I just want to thank you. I do follow your Facebook posts from FIRST, and we found out about the coin research, and we actually just got back from Indy today. He had his very first visit at the Indy location, and there is a Netherton's group. I don't think it's really affiliated with FIRST, but on social media, and they've been talking about the coin research as well. There was just a big thread on Friday. A few years ago, we also did one of Dr. Amy Paler's studies. It was for the Cosentics. So we went to Northwestern for a year, and he's still on since he started the Cosentics. Blue Cross has stopped covering up, but his dermatologist transferred him to Taltz, and he's seen a huge relief of internal inflammation, and which really lessened his itch. And so he continues on the Taltz. So he's doing the phase 2 from coin, where he does not have to stop his Taltz, but he'll be starting the lotion hopefully in 2 weeks. They did blood work today to confirm a genetic diagnosis. But I just want to thank you for all the social media posts. That's how we really stay informed. I noticed Coin also sent something to his dermatologist. So I think they're starting to communicate with dermatologists, because his dermatologist actually sent us an email today with a letter from the Coin doctor reaching out to his dermatologist.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure we're not reaching everybody, but did your son give you any feedback of like what his thoughts were during the participation of the trial?
From the coin one today?
Yeah, I mean, just like what is, you know, did he have anything to say, like what it was like to be there? Was it a hassle? Did it, you know, was he?
You know what?
excited?
He couldn't had more nice things to say about it. He said that they were all very nice. They were all very concerned about him. When he mentioned using Aquaphor, the nurse in charge of, or one of the nurses in charge of the study, wanted to make sure that he was getting the free Aquaphor. So they were on top of that. They said, if not, they would take care of the letter today, which he already does get that, thankfully. But said the doctor was very nice. He had very nice things to say about it when he came back to the hotel this morning, and is really looking forward to hopefully being able to start it here in a couple of weeks.
Well, it's interesting because someone told me that you will never get better doctor care than when you're in a trial, because it's really, they are focused on your health and safety. So that is definitely a positive. Thanks for sharing that. That's great.
You know,
Christine.
one quick other thing, the one other huge benefit we see from participating in the studies is the networking. You know, he stays in communication with Dr. Paler in Chicago, and just having other dermatologists take a look at you and other doctors taking a look at you and then being part of their network group, we think is a huge advantage to taking part in these studies.
Oh, absolutely. Was that you, Gabby, trying to say
Yeah.
something?
Hi, Christine. Yeah. I received your emails it was a hot second ago, but basically, it was either you or Denise who sent me an email regarding the coins clinical trial, which I did end up participating in. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about the trial just so it doesn't mess up the results of anyone else who wants to participate. I did enjoy going down to San Diego. That was pretty cool. But I do think that your emails were very helpful, and I do receive those emails.
Okay. Well, I know, Joe, when you said, Denise just sent me a message that we have your updated contact information now. So that's great. That's one difficulty. We know people have Nethertons, but they don't necessarily update their contact information. So it's very difficult to get a hold of them. But that's why we put it in the e-news, we put it in social media. Denise's make phone calls. So if we don't have one thing or the other, we usually, can track people down. But if you do have a change of address or change of email, phone number, please just let us know so we can stay in touch.
Yeah.
And I also have a question for Chris. You mentioned that there's only one phase 2 trial currently going on, and that was, I assume, the one I just participated in. The other studies that are asking for just data and information collection, will you be dropping a link in the chat for those?
Just reach out to me or any of us, me or Christine or Denise. We have the points of contact for all of those, who you can reach out to.
Okay. What's your email?
Mine is C. Boynton.
Oh, I was going to say we could send out a follow-up email. After
Yeah,
the
we can.
call.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah,
That'd be
that
wonderful.
way
Okay.
you all get it. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? So we really do believe that it's our role as an organization to present all these opportunities to you and to be the connector between, the pharma industry and the patient community. It really is part of our mission to enhance and further research. So we do that in a couple different ways. We actually directly fund research, and then we also actually can work with academia to help them with their research, and then we help with private industry and their research as well, and recruiting, helping to market the opportunities. So this really is very fundamental to what we can do as an organization to provide you with all the information, all the opportunities, and help further research down the road. And I think with that, we're just about done. I really do appreciate you all coming on tonight. For those of you who are on that other group that's not necessarily affiliated with FIRST, this session is being recorded, and we'll send out in our follow-up the link to the recording, and you can send it off in that other group, and maybe they will learn to decide to investigate a little further, see if they want to participate as well.
Good.
Thanks
All
for
right.
your time.
Again, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you for
good
your
night.
time.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody. We hope you're as excited as we are. This is really great stuff. And it's so good to see so many of you.
Have a question?
No, go ahead.
So, we're still not feeling very sure about how we get in touch with any of these people. Are they going to get in touch with us? How does that go?
Well, just if you are interested in some of the data gathering kind of studies, just
Yeah.
drop one of them, either Denise or Chris or myself, and we'll make sure you have our emails afterwards. So
Okay.
send us an email saying yes, we're interested in participating in that. As far as the trials themselves, they're always on our website under the research tab. You can find out how to directly reach out to them there.
Okay. And so, and then if there's going to be a group like the fellow, sorry, I didn't get your name, the person who was talking about.
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Yep.
I'm Lana. This is Scott.
Hi, Scott. Did you have a question for me?
Well, I was just wondering about you showed some interest in having a consistent meeting with people who have Nethertons.
Right. And I would love to, if anybody on this board here ever wants to get a hold of me, or, I'm always available to talk,
So because I think that would be really, really helpful for stuff that comes up but how would we get that organized?
So I think Christine is our community outreach kind of person. So she'll put that together, and it may be a regular Zoom call, or maybe more of a Facebook group where people can chat with each other via Facebook, maybe a little bit of both. We'll see how it works out, but we'll give it a try and see what the participation is like.
Okay. And is Denise still there?
Yes.
I just want
Yes, I am.
I just want to thank Denise. I think she's the one that has been talking to me via email and everything else. And thank you for contacting me and spending some. She spent quite a bit of minutes with me. Let me put it to you that way, describing some things and making me feel more comfortable about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. And so she's representing first. I'm glad that she's one of the people that's contacting me because I feel, what's the word I want to say? I feel motivated to move on and learn as much as I can. Let me put it to you that way.
That's great.
Oh,
Thanks for
thank you
saying.
so much. Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks
saying
for
that,
saying that.
Yep.
I'm willing to talk to anybody about my experience too. I know there's a lot of considerations with travel and with side effects and with just everything that goes on. So, you know, just like with Joe, I was talking to him today about his particular concerns, and anybody can reach out to me with regard to my particular experience. And I can only speak from that. But I'm just so happy to have these opportunities to bring to you all. And I wish I could multiply it for all of our types, but we have to make sure that we take this moment and we really run with it, because if these trials don't, if these trials have to be canceled, then the drug can be dead in its tracks. And so that's why we're talking y'all's heads off. We're hitting you in every possible forum to try to make sure that everyone with Netherton knows about these opportunities. So